yeah, there's still that consistent carnival melody. In a previous episode, we listened to some ambient bangers from Risk of Rain 2, so be sure to check that out. Now, let's go for some more. You're gonna need a bigger ukulele. How big? What is going on here? Starting with some prog metal style vibes and then going into ambient metal? What? Woo! Oh my, the beautiful playing here, the bends. It is evoking a little bit of Radiohead vibes in terms of this melancholic, kind of depressive feeling. Oh my god, I love that interesting sound. There's some synth percussion in the background that's accompanying the drums. The drums and the guitar, of course, are kind of more traditional metalcore sound, but the addition of that kind of makes it a little bit different. What is going on here? This is like you switched radio stations immediately from metal station to experimental grunge rock radio station. I don't know. Okay, now this vibe, this tempo, and this ambient chill style is now more reminiscent of the first song that we reacted to, The Rain, formerly known as Purple. Okay, I like section A and C being the metal interludes. This section D and section B were only playing between two chords. Na, ra, ra, ra. It's both a chromatic progression going down and going up, kind of like dun 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 dun. If you sped it up, it sounds kind of like the Jaws theme by John Williams, but it's stretched out. There we are again, the bendy electric guitars. There is a classical music format that is very similar to this. You repeat, and then a new section comes in, then you repeat another section comes in. It is called a rondo. It's just going round and round and round, but you add something new in each iteration. Now we have a different chord progression. Again, repeating the metal part, introducing another section. Oh yeah, this is definitely a rondo. This is classical music, but in ambient metal form. Oh my god. This is one of my favorite things about the bluesy or the bendy style of guitar playing or string playing or sometimes saxophones or trombones. You can get away with microtones, bending the strings or bending the note to increase the pitch or lower the pitch, but not quite make it play exact standard pitch, but because of the stylistic nature of it, you can get away with it. So you can get away with being a little bit out of tune, but that's okay. It's part of the style, or what some other people would just call, oh, it's just jazz. Interesting little irregular meter there. Wow, okay, wow. That was incredible. I love the switching of moods, the switching of tempos. But do we really need a bigger ukulele? Yes. And also, like the bigger philosophical kind of connotations by this piece right here. We have an A section that is represented by that prog metal part. It is rigid, it is fixed, it is rhythmic. Like it is something that is stoic, an immovable object. And then it contrasts with these stretched out halftime meters with so many bends, almost floaty, dreamy, lots of bending, lots of microtonal performance. Microtonal meaning there's lots of dynamic pitches where the notes don't necessarily stay in a fixed pitch or necessarily trying to play standard pitches. They're moving all about. They're just floating about in space, in the space of this music. I love this contrast between something that is highly ordered and something that is freely flowing. A glacier eventually farts, and don't you listen to the song of life. What? very dronic ambience, kind of like those scenes in movies when a bomb just exploded and the hero or the protagonist has this sort of tinnitus experience being portrayed by the sound design. I see, it's forming up. The meter, the rhythm, it's forming up. From a primordial, formless soup, and now comes the bones and the muscle. Something like that. I like this build-up. It kind of sounds like the pitter pattern of rain that is about to form up. A risk of rain. What? We have major chord from what started up as just staying in one key but staying in a neutral chord, mostly playing between octaves, no triads yet until now.
Here is violin, bass. I would see.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a musical representation of rain and rainstorms. In this part, the rain showers have subsided, but there's still residue. There's still thunder and lightning. And now what's this narration right here?
Asphyxiation and choking and fighting for survival and just rotting away. Of course, there's a lot of misery. The trees here are in misery and the birds are in misery. I don't think they sing, they just screech in pain. But it is the same misery that is all around us.
Wow, imagery in my head. This feels like an empty shack being drizzled by rain, rainstorms, thunder and lightning all around. And then you find this ancient recording of someone, maybe somebody in their dying breath, recorded this narration as a final act, and somebody found it years later, decades later. So it's kind of like a time capsule, a memory, an audio diary of someone. That subtle bass drum, it's subtle, it's not in your face, but the presence looms large. Yeah, I enjoy this mix a lot. Heavy ambient synthesizers, synthetic sounding, very modern, very synthetic, as the right word is. But then he uses a natural snare drum rim shot, and it's not a synth drum. So even if it is MIDI, it is using live recorded samples. I always love that, a combination of the organic and the synthetic. All right, key change and a culmination of the climactic part of the rain. It's the final display of the thunderstorms and all that. Maybe it's a risk of rain.
It's like a curse weighing on an entire landscape. And whoever goes too deep into this has his share of that curse. It's a land that God has created in anger. Even the stars up here in the sky look like a mess. Taking a close look at what's around us, there is some sort of a harmony. The harmony of overwhelming and collective murder. But when I say this all full of admiration. It is not that I hate it, I love it. I love it very much. But I love it against my better judgment.
Wow, that was totally trippy. I realized that the metallic chimes, those doing the octaves, da, da, they're like wind chimes, or they're like the tiny gongs that you see in Buddhist temples, like those tiny instruments or those tiny meditation bowls that those Buddhist monks use in chanting. And now that I think of that, this entirety of the piece, it does feel like some sort of meditation or prayer, but with those dramatic, intense accents in between. Yeah. By the way, if you're enjoying my content and want to support the channel, consider joining my YouTube memberships or my Patreon. Let's continue. This one is called Terra Pluviam. Interesting. Let's check it out. Oh my god, the composer Chris Christodoulou loves his gated synths or arpeggiators. And when I say gated or arpeggiators, these are like synthesizer patches where you just press one button and it does a lot of stuff. It has its own built-in rhythmic patterns or even has its own built-in automated arpeggios, hence the term arpeggiator. Like you press one button and hold it, or sometimes you press one button, it plays one pitch, but it does, and sometimes it has multiple patterns that are complex. Yeah, these are really just the byproducts of the technology of synths. There it is again. What I've been saying in the previous songs in Risk of Rain 2. The combination of an all-around synth melody, synth harmony, synth environment, but using live drum set. I love that combination. I love the organic and the synthetic sound combined. I just thought about why I love that. Because I was raised to be a live musician. I'm a live musician, I'm a composer and all that. And I also played with a band. So naturally, I gravitate towards live performance of music. Even if in Risk of Rain, there's heavy use of synths, synthesizers, computerized, automated synthesizers, what have yous. The fact that there's the use of live drums or organic drum set suddenly makes the piece feel like it's a live show, like a live performance. Because if you just use synth drums, it has a connotation that it is mostly produced on a computer, or at least that's the perception of it. But having the drums be a live sounding drums, I don't care if it's MIDI samples or not. The fact that it is sounding like a live drum gives this impression that it is now a live performance with a keyboardist and a drummer and a bassist on a stage. And I love that. I love this heavy usage of Asian sounding gongs or percussions. Yeah, this definitely sounds like Indonesian gamelan gongs. This sounds kind of like a space carnival. Because of that scale, that use of like a Neapolitan kind of scale passage, kind of sounds like what you would hear in carnival music, like those organ grinders. Yeah, Space Carnival. Picture that. And now we're back to the vibin' halftime beat, similar to The Rain, formerly known as Purple. I love it. The consistency of the beat and the vibe. So good. Yeah, that section we just listened to, that sounds more like a minimalistic ambient rock piece where there's this repeating constant thing. In this case, it's the drums, the chord progression, and that passage. But all around it, things are changing. We're hearing floating synths, some melodies, some chimes. There's this consistency, and then there's change around it. It's like, I don't know, a train analogy. The train is the constant thing, moving on the rails, staying consistent in one tempo, in one speed, but the environment around it is constantly changing. You pass by trees, you pass by towns, cities, rivers. It's kind of like that. And we're back to the consistency. My God, that short atmospheric part right there was kind of like creepy. Creepy Space Carnival? What? Chris seems to have mastered the art of the vamp. In jazz music, there's this musical performance or musical process that they call the vamp, in which usually the keyboardist or the rhythm section or the harmony section, whichever performer is assigned to that, they will just perform a repeating chord progression. Maybe it's, let's just say, C and F, C, F, C, F on repeat. And it's like an endless repeating passage for the purpose of accompanying someone who's gonna do a solo passage. For example, a pianist and a saxophone player doing a duet, and if the saxophone player's turn to do a solo passage, the pianist can then play just two chords. For example, C, F, vamp on repeat and repeat endlessly until the saxophone player kind of exhausts his solo, does eye contact with the pianist. Okay, I'm done. And now the vamp can end and the pianist can play the other passages now, or play the chorus, or play his own solo, something like that. And this Risk of Rain, so far, most of the music that we've listened to from Risk of Rain tends to stay on this pattern of just playing between two chords. Dun, 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 dun. For this particular piece, it's just two chords on repeat, and everything around it is just constantly changing, like the train analogy that I just said. So yeah, maybe he's a vampire. New chord. Yeah, there's still that consistent carnival melody. That was breathtaking. You're breathtaking. That was a breathtaking guitar duet right there. Highly ambient, some flashiness, but mostly only elevating this floatiness, this dreaminess, this dreamy atmospheric vibe. It just upped the stakes, but it also sounds like somebody wailing or screaming. And you know, wow, that's just mind-blowing. There's some deliberate off-tempo playing here to kind of throw you off. drummer Phil. Yeah, drummer solo. He must feel so relieved that after staying consistently on the same slow beat all throughout, now the drummer gets a chance to shine. Oh my god, if this was in a live music venue, like a bar or like a music lounge, you can just imagine like, I don't know, hundreds of people, 200s, 500 people. They're just like all swaying like this with a drink in their hand. Yeah. Key change! Sounds very hopeful now. Sounds optimistic and hopeful as opposed to before where it sounded more a bit obnoxious, mysterious, and a little bit ominous. Oh my god, this style, this whole style here, especially that whistle sounding synth melody right there, again, definitely sounds like a tribute or like a homage to one of the earliest pioneers of electronic music, Isao Tomita. Look him up. That was quite some journey. Love it. From a mysterious space adventure that kind of sounds like a carnival to something hopeful and optimistic. Yeah, that's a masterpiece right there. Now click on this next video if you want more discussions and musical analysis of video game music.